Hey everybody, it's Rory from ANSgear. We've got a brand new regulator from HK. This is the HK Turbine Regulator. So this is replacing their their V2 Pro regulator. This is the next step for them. The Turbine Regulator comes in two versions. It comes in a standard size or standard length, and then an extended version. So the long version right here. We've got the standard, and then next to that, we have the long. So here's our packaging. Kind of has some features around there. It comes with some tools. We'll talk about all that. We'll talk about all this stuff that's on here. It is an adjustable output pressure regulator, and it is adjusted by adding or removing the shims that come in the kit right here. So there's no like kind of guessing like, oh, I need to put in one red and a blue or a silver and a green or whatever it happens to be. You'll see that the shims are actually labeled, and you just stick the shim in that you want the pressure to be. Now that pressure is an average, so it'll tell you that by putting this in, you're going to be at a certain pressure, but it's plus or minus 50 PSI or so. So it's going to be right around in that area. It gives you a ballpark. And we can go down as low as 300 or all the way up to about 650. Again, that's plus or minus 50 at those levels. So just a little food for thought right there. Here's the inside of our box. This kind of slides around the outside of it. And then you can see all the stuff on there. 300, 650, and it even says on there plus or minus 50 PSI on that. So let's take a look at our regulators. Or what's in our box. So we're gonna get our reg. This is the standard. We've got burst discs on opposite sides. And then this is our extended version. And you can tell that that is slightly longer. And we've got burst discs on one side rather than it's split on the other. Our fill nipple and gauge are opposite, which is nice. So that'll fit most of your like reg tools for the standard one right here. But as far as the other features on the reg, some stuff we've seen before. Adjustable bonnet on the top. I'll take this reg apart so we can see how the adjustment works. Let's get the top of this one off. So we can take that. We got dual O-rings on the top, making sure we have a nice, good seal when you're putting it into the ASA of your marker. Having two O-rings on there, if one of them fails, you're still going to get the job done with the other one. If the other one fails, you just haven't been paying attention and monitoring your regulator very well. Comes with a little rubber fill nipple cap on there. These tend to get lost super easy, but it's on there to save dirt from going into your one-way, going up and fouling up your regulator, and then causing issues inside of your regulator. In the box also, you're gonna get a tool. So this tool is specifically for these burst discs that are on here. This is a new style burst disc. It's a very low profile burst disc. And this tool goes right on, and it allows you to undo or tighten your burst discs. You can use both sides. Fits right on there. If you need to take them off, you need to put them on, however you need to do it. This is the tool that you're going to use for the burst discs, and it comes in the packaging. It's not something you need to buy. It's not something you need extra. It comes with it. Also inside there is your repair kit, so all your spare O-rings are in here, and I want to show you these shims. I'm going to throw that one over there real quick, and I'm going to take this one out as well. So these shims are all different thicknesses, which is going to control output pressure. And as you can see on there, they are marked with what pressure they are. So if you take this shim and take any other shims out of the regulator, put this shim in, this is going to put you at approximately 550 PSI. This one is a 650. The one that's inside there is going to say 450. And if you removed all of your shims and just ran the spring by itself, that's going to put you at that low 300 PSI pressure. So no shims, two up shims. And that's not stacking all of these shims together. That's just having the shim inside there. You don't need to put all three of those shims in there. to get that pressure. You just need to put that one in. All right, inside here also, you have like a little quick start guide. Gives you just some basic information about the regulator, what you got your shims on, or what shims do what. And then next to that, we've got a nice, large, colorful display manual. It really goes through it. Gives you like all the information about what the parts are, where they are, how to access them, how to use everything that comes with it. How the reg breaks down. It's got basically every section of the reg on there. All right, I'm going to set that to the side. We've got the tools in here. Here's an Allen key to take these things out. I have my own Allen key that I'm going to use. So we're going to pull the bonnet off of here real fast. We're going to take these screws out. Make sure that your reg is degassed, obviously, before you plan to do any work to your tank. Regulator. I'm going to pull all 6 of these screws out. So here, here, and here. So we can pull the reg apart completely so we can talk about the inside of it. We definitely want to talk about the piston that's in there because, well, we'll talk about it when we get to it. All right, so all 6 screws are out. We can unscrew the top. All right, so here is our upper bonnet. We're going to leave this part in there. We're not going to talk about that yet, even though it keeps wanting to jump out of there. So here's our bonnet with our threads on it. I don't know if they call this the bonnet. Well, they do call this part the bonnet, and they call this the rotational bonnet. So this part goes up inside of here, and you have some screws that come through and push onto these flat sections on here. And that's going to keep the bonnet from turning. But if you remove these screws, these top sets of screws, you're able to spin the rotational bonnet inside of the bonnet housing here and control where the regulator is going to stop once it threads into your marker. So if you want to adjust it, basically got your tank on your gun, make sure it's degassed, undo the top set of screws, spin your bonnet to where you want your tank to sit, and then tighten those screws back down. Or you can do it like I just did right here, pull the whole thing apart, and that way you can see exactly how this is working. We pull out our pin and spring, so this is coming up through the bonnet and sealing up at the top. So up on the inside of our bonnet, there is not an O-ring on the inside at the top of the bonnet, the rotational bonnet. It seals on this gasket that is right here. So when this pops up against the top, this gasket seals, and there is an extra one inside of your parts kit right there. So if you ever get a leak through the top, through the pin of your regulator, that is the culprit right there. And you're going to change out that seal, which they give you. Moving down into the piston part right here. If your 1.8K burst disc blows, you can't just replace the burst disc and expect it to work. If you have an issue with your 1.8, there's an issue with regulation of pressure inside the regulator somewhere. So the first thing you'll do is disassemble your regulator. You're going to check your upper O-ring and your lower O-ring, which you do have spares for. Make sure that there are no cuts in it, no chips, no dings, that it is clean and that it is greased. You're going to check the reg seat at the bottom of the piston right here. If this has a little metal shaving in it, or it has some dirt or debris that's been smashed up inside of it, the whole piston needs to be replaced. You cannot replace just the seat out of the piston. You do need to replace the entire piston. That's why it's good to make sure that you're keeping everything clean, that where you're filling your tank from, like the compressor or the storage of the air coming in, is clean, doesn't have a lot of debris that can foul up your regulator, cause an imperfection into your seat, and then cause your regulator to overpressurize and blow the disc. That's what it's supposed to do, though. If you get a problem inside here, the regulator's job, or the burst disc job, is to rupture so that it doesn't cause a problem. If your 1/8 blows, solve the problem. Replacing the burst disc will not solve it. You need to figure out where the problem's coming from and then solve that. And then you can see we've got our 450 shim right there. And then if I took this shim out, I would have the lowest possible pressure, like around 300 or so. And that one is marked. If you didn't see that, it is marked as well, 450 on there. All right, let's put that back together. This just drops down inside there. Whoop. We can take our bonnet. That's going to sit right on top. Pick our pin spring, drop it down in. Take our pin, put it in there. Make sure that the pin does come up through the bonnet. Then we can put that on, put a cap on, and screw it all together. There are O-rings for everything inside there, from the top to the piston O-rings to both versions. There's the small one at the bottom and the big one at the top, plus your one-way O-ring, which is going to be underneath here for your one-way strut that moves back and forth inside your one-way assembly. All those O-rings are included in the little kit here. So basically you can do a full rebuild on the Reg, besides like a piston rebuild or piston replacement, because they're not providing you with an extra piston. But if you're keeping everything clean, a bad piston is not something that you should have to worry about right away. Eventually, over time, you'll probably need to replace that, because it just so happens that paintball's a pretty dirty sport. Woo! Come on, screws. This table does not help here. It's slippery. And then once I get these back together, we'll go ahead and weigh them up so you can get a weight on each version here, the standard and the long. All right, let's tighten this down just a little. Don't want to crush it. All right, there you go. Thanks, bud. That one's for you. That one we already did. All right, so let's take this top off of this one too, because you're not really going to have that on when you're playing with it. All right. Come here, KitchenAid. So this is our standard size. We got 4.843 ounces. 4.8 ounces. So 4 ounces, 16 ounces in a pound, 4 ounces is a quarter pound. So you're looking at a quarter pounder right here. It's like hamburger size or hamburger weight. 4.843. And then moving on to the longer version is 5.78 by 5.8, 5.7 on the extended one. So not much heavier, going from that one, 4.8, to that one, 5.7. 4.844, 4 point, wait, that can't be right. That one said it was heavier. 4.842, 4.785. I think maybe my scale is weird. 4.8, 5.7. 4.8. No, I'm not crazy. Oh, I'm just reading them as the same first number. Wild. About an ounce heavier for the other one. It's early in the morning. Anyway, guys, we got new regulators, new Turbine Reg. Easy to adjust, easy to control output pressures. Everything's marked for you. All the parts are inside there. It's super easy to deal with right there. Brand new Reg. Lots of information. They're giving you everything you need to be fully functional, taking care of this regulator on your own. Just make sure when you're doing any work with it that it's degassed. Push the pin down. Make sure that there's no pressure inside of it, that it's not holding any excess pressure. Make sure your tank's empty. And then get inside there and service your regulator. Brand new HK turbine regulators in standard and long. They're available on the website. Get yours today at ANSgear.com.